The day is finally here. Both the Xbox and PlayStation new consoles are available and already feature some huge improvements in terms of the graphics and performance. But with the all-new generation hype, a lot of fans are worried that Nintendo will begin to lose some steam over here. However, it's easy to see that's not even the case at all. In fact, the Switch 2021 lineup is looking to be possibly one of the best years for the system yet. Let's go. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2's release date, or at least you could say a narrower release window, has reportedly been revealed, and according to the new report, the Zelda sequel isn't hitting the Nintendo Switch and the Switch Lite as well for roughly another year. Breath of the Wild 2, or the sequel, is releasing sometime during a holiday 2021, which is to say sometime between October and December. You could say around the same time right now. There's an 85 to 90% chance that the highly anticipated sequel will be released around the holidays of 2021. But here's the thing. For now, I would suggest take everything that I just said with a grain of salt or whatever, because it's all subject to change. However, make sure to stay tuned. We will be sure to update the story with whatever Nintendo comes up with later on. Ever since its teaser release announcement at E3 2017, there has been like zero information or details about Metroid Prime 4. For those of you unfamiliar, that's a long-awaited follow-up to the Prime trilogy of the games. Well, that's hardly surprising though, as it was confirmed at the beginning of 2019 that development was being restarted and the game was being handed to another studio, which was responsible for the original trilogy game. So, with that in mind, speaking of rumors and leaks, it's still believed that an upgraded version of the Switch called the Switch Pro is being made, which will be able to support 4K resolution, and that could also be good news kind of for Metroid Prime 4 if it came true sooner rather than later. I mean, for now, all we're actually sure of is that Metroid Prime is in development, so just make sure to stay tuned.
This means when your squad first jumps into a chapter, you're going to want to stay as quiet as possible. Noise attracts
Well, in case you didn't know, the hit third-person shooter World War Z is gearing up for a Nintendo Switch release. It's true. Saber Interactive is working on bringing World War Z over to the Nintendo Switch, though a release date has yet to be set and it remains a bit unclear whether or not the Switch version will receive the Game of the Year edition content, which released earlier this year for other consoles. To which case you're new to, World War Z is a squad-based third-person shooter that pits you against a seemingly endless hordes of zombies, and while it can be experienced solo, this game's at its best when played online with other friends, so just keep it in mind.
Hold defensive choke points or just sprint like crazy can be the difference between life and death.
Super Mario 3D World is coming to Switch as well. They said the 2013 Wii U game would be ported over to the Switch as Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which would also carry over the levels and co-op gameplay that helped sell 5 million copies originally, and would then see more to be announced content added in later on. Anyway, the Switch port will be available February 12, 2021, in which now up to 4 players can join in on the fun locally and even online. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword may finally be getting a re-release, according to a listing of a Nintendo Switch port listing on the game on Amazon, which currently actually indicates a release date of January 1st, 2021 as a placeholder. But if you should know, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword was first released in November 2011 on the Nintendo Wii and was actually heavily reliant on the Wii Motion Plus peripheral for sword and combat puzzles, so it's going to be really nice to see how it works on the hybrid console over here when it releases, which so far we only know it's coming sometime possibly in 2021. Alright, multiple retailers in Asia have posted listings for an English localization of Atlus's Persona 5 Scramble, The Phantom Strikes over here, all of which right now reference a launch date of February 23rd, 2021. Now, originally released in Japan on the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch, Persona 5 Scramble sees the famous Phantom Thieves, in case you didn't know, embark on a cross-country tour of Japan, stopping along the way to take some names and steal some hearts. That's just in case you were wondering. And while the February 2021 date remains kind of unconfirmed right now, we'll be sure to inform you should any official word be forthcoming, so make sure to stick around. Oh, by the way, Take-Two Interactive and Rockstar Games are actually preparing themselves to launch Grand Theft Auto V on yet another platform, which will be either Stadia or the Nintendo Switch. Only problem is that we can't tell when this rumor might turn to be true right now unless waiting for a new message from Rockstar Games, though it could never happen, but if it did, my guess is it will be sometime in 2021. Moving on.
Let's go!
Just in case it had somehow slipped your mind, Monster Hunter Rise is due to launch on 26th of March 2021 on the Nintendo Switch. It is shaping up to be a compelling new entry in the franchise and the first new installment exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. That's rich. You know, Monster Hunter World never came to the hybrid console, and everyone itching to get hands on some new content over here, which the new game, if you're wondering, has plenty. We'll get back to this one a little later. So here's the thing, after being announced at 2017 Game Awards with a teaser trailer only, Bayonetta 3 has managed to fly under the radar, only outside of Platinum confirming this year that Bayonetta 3 is still in development. Now, the game's not been given an official release date, but considering it was announced 3 years ago, we could be graced with some additional news very soon. For now, we'll just have to keep our hopes up that Bayonetta 3 receives a new trailer at the Game Awards on December 10th. It's also possible that Bayonetta 3 will be a planned launch for the heavily rumored Nintendo Switch Pro console as well, so we'll see. In case you forgot, a Pokemon Snap game for the Nintendo Switch is on the way, and we could see its launch in early 2021 actually. Well, of course, as always, Bandai Namco is developing the new game, and it's the kind, as you might have guessed, obviously, where players take photos of the Pokemon as a thing. So it's basically an all-new adventure inspired by the classic Nintendo 64 game, and so far I think you just can't tell. The islands look kind of familiar, but there are obviously tons of new Pokemons around. Also, there's more news on the way later on in early 2021. So make sure to stick around. Riot Games recently announced a lot of random oddities, a digital card game called Legend of Runeterra, a League of Legends fighting game, and an unrelated first-person shooter, among other things. Now, among them, they announced a free-to-play League of Legends Wild Rift a little while ago for mobile devices, and more consoles information to arrive in 2020. Well, that was until today. We heard it might make its way to Switch, possibly later in 2020, and as for what it is, though, we hear Wild Rift is a complete, from-scratch rebuild of the original game designed especially for mobile and consoles. In the mind, there will be no crossplay between classic LoL and Wild Rift, though, however, the core 5 vs 5 mobile gameplay will be preserved. Additionally, all champions will be unlockable through regular play, and that's about 40-ish champions we hear, so yeah. But you all know Nintendo Switch is no stranger to the Outlast series. I mean, since both Outlast and Outlast 2 are available on the Switch and seem to have found good success as well. Now with the team working on the Outlast Trials, there's also a small bit of hope it'll head over to the Nintendo Switch as well. What hope is there for a Switch release though? Well, honestly, at this point, I guess we better just have to cross our fingers and hope for that. But the good news is, we are getting an update on the new game later this year, possibly pointing to an early 2021 release. Genshin Impact so far has built a popular following on the PlayStation 4, PC, and mobile devices, and we all want to know when the RPG will be on the Nintendo Switch, if you should know. The latest information on the Switch version of the game reads, the open-world ARPG game Genshin Impact will come to the Nintendo Switch in the future. So I guess all we have for now is that it's just coming soon. I think it seems unlikely that Genshin Impact will be coming to the Switch later this year. I mean, with a beta expected to come before its Switch release, and that's actually so far expected only for sometime later in 2021. That's all.
To ashes! I, Fischl,
Oh, Level 5 publishers finally announced Yokai Watch 4 would eventually be released in the West, the exact release date of which is now January 21st, 2021. If everything goes according to plan, it'll be an updated version also, in case you're wondering, that adds new yokai and new areas to explore. It also adds more to the multiplayer, where up to 4 players can connect online or locally to take on bosses or whatever, so keep it in mind. Your Switch users will have to wait a little bit longer to play Apex Legends on your console of choice. Previously, it was announced at EA Live Play 2020 that the Battle Royale hit was supposed to arrive on Switch this fall. However, that's obviously no longer the case, as the game's release date has been pushed back for several reasons, which we're not going to get into right now. That said, for those of you who previously played Apex Legends on Origin, all your account progression and unlocks will carry over to the hybrid console as well, later on when it releases in 2021 sometime, which we don't know exactly when. So just keep it in mind for now.
What are you doing? Eyes up, lads. Shall we carry on then? The action is Travis Touchdown, the legendary assassin who has twice claimed the #1 spot in the assassin rankings.
Oh, Nintendo just dropped the surprise Nintendo Direct Mini a little while ago, and it included a new trailer for the anticipated No More Heroes 3. This is now basically our first real look at gameplay, and it looks like the series' trademark beam katana action and the big boss fights are fully intact. It's a good thing. Oh, by the way, other No More Heroes, actually the first 2 games in the series, have just been stealth-dropped on the Nintendo Switch at a price of $20 apiece, so keep that in mind as well. No More Heroes 3 though hits the Nintendo Switch sometime in 2021. So, what do you think?
Bring it on! I'll give you a little kiss. What? You got news? Does it have to be like now? For reals? The first No More Heroes is getting ported to Nintendo Switch! Hell yeah! No More Heroes 2 Desperate Struggle is coming to the Switch too? When's it drop? For some time now.
Doom Eternal is a fast-paced game that already looks excellent on the last generation of consoles. However, its resolution was known to drop on Xbox One X during particularly hectic gameplay moments. Thankfully, that same dynamic resolution scaling allows Doom Eternal to play at full 4K resolution consistently on Xbox Series X, all while maintaining a silky 60 frames per second. That said, you can have this one at its cheapest on Amazon Prime for $39.99 to pre-order even, if you like.
Aggression.
That boy is our last hope.
Alright, so the release date of LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga may have just leaked, courtesy of GameStop. The PlayStation 4, 5, Nintendo Switch, PC, Xbox One, and Series X and S game was originally actually scheduled to release this year, but recently it was then delayed to 2021. For now, Warner Bros. Games and TD Games haven't really revealed a more specific date, but GameStop may have gone ahead and spilled these beans. Right now, over on GameStop, the retailer lists the game for a release on May 31st, 2021, basically leaving us with nothing but speculations. So let's get back to this one a little bit later as well. An update really quick, we now have confirmation that Digimon Survive has indeed been delayed to 2021. Bandai Namco themselves just came out and said, we apologize for worrying you, anyone who has been looking forward to the game, but we ask you to please wait just a little while longer. That's it. Digimon Survive, in case you're also unfamiliar with, is a survival strategy RPG, temporarily even listed with a January 2021 release window on a few websites. Just make sure to stay tuned on this one. I would assume in an era where arcade titles are few and far between, Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, the official video game, could serve as a reminder that Sega is still the champion of sport games in some ways. A varied selection of events, each with their own addictive gameplay mechanics, definitely makes for an entertaining package with plenty to see and do over here. Only problem right now is that you can't get hands on a Western release for this game. It's Japanese only, but rumors has it is coming to West later on, sometime in 2021 finally. But that's all we heard. That's all for now. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If there's anything you would like to know about these games, let me know about it in the comment section. If you like the video, don't forget to like. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, because that would be the best way to get more videos like this one. In any case, I will see you guys again very soon.